So apparently you can use Gemini 3.1 Pro and they've just released this model, but you can supposedly one-shot websites like this. And there's been a lot of hype about this recently, but there was this tweet by this guy where he actually showed off the entire thing and he also gave the prompt in the description or in the part of the thread. So the fact that you can supposedly one-shot something like this is pretty crazy. I mean, look at that. That's insane. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna take the prompt, right, this one here, and we're gonna use it. We're gonna test it out. We're gonna see if it actually does everything that he said it does. And then after that, what we're gonna do is go ahead and modularize the prompt so that you can use it to design your own website, however it is that you feel it should be done. So we're not gonna stick to what he has only, but we'll go ahead and improve it as much as we can. All right, so the first thing you need to do is pretty much open any kind of IDE or whatever. So I'm going to be using anti-gravity for this one, and I think that it's if you want to use this, if you want to use any sort of Gemini model, you might as well just use anti-gravity, which is Google's native IDE, right? Google's native agentic IDE. So we'll go ahead and open this up here, and I'll open a new window, and I have a folder called Gemini websites, which has nothing in it. So if I go here, it's called Gemini 3.1 Pro websites. I'll put that in there. Okay, so we have this. So website one has got nothing in it either. These the most we have in these is some images, which I wanted to see if we could also get this one to take this image and turn it into a website. Same for this one. I want you to like take this image and make it a functioning website. And then for website, my bad. This one is going to be about, can you give it a bunch of different pieces of inspiration and have it pull out the stylistic inspo from all of them so that it can actually make a website. So we're going to test all of that in today's video. So for now, let's go ahead and let's get started with number one. So all you're gonna do is in this one, you're gonna go here, make a new file, and you're gonna call this website-instructions.md. Okay, making a markdown file. And all we're gonna do is paste in this. So this is already in the description if you want to grab it from there. But this is just a markdown file for the agentic IDE to have have the context of what it has to do. So now Opus 4.6 so far has been great, but I've also heard that apparently Gemini 3.1 Pro High doesn't even like Opus 4.6 come close to how well Gemini 3.1 Pro makes websites. So all I'm gonna say is read at website instructions and make the website and put it and on localhost so I can see it. Okay, so we'll send that. So yeah, apparently you can one-shot this thing, and even if you just check online, like so far, apparently the Gemini 3.1 Pro is really really good for UI. There was even some other stuff that I was looking at. This is not from that one, but this guy has also been doing some crazy stuff when it comes to 3.1 Pro High, and he's been making some super cool abstract designs like these kind of card designs, right, as you can see here. And so I think that as far as UI goes, this is a very good one. And what's funny is like a couple of weeks ago, it would have been crazy to think that you're going to be able to, well, one, use like a single prompt as a way of doing an entire high quality design. All right, so it's given us this stuff. It says core design system, color, moss, typography, all of this. All right, so I'm going to say proceed. I'm going to, again, it's on 3.1 Pro High because apparently this is a really, really good model. So let's wait for this to finish up and let's see how it does. All right, anyways, while this is going, I want to show you guys that I went into Claude and I said that I'm trying to verbalize my aesthetic. I want to build an app or a website, whatever. And I said, I'm going to give you my Pinterest board and let's see how good your vision model is at being able to tell me what exactly my style aesthetic thing is. So I gave it a bunch of images here, like this, yeah. And it went ahead and it put together this document here, which has a design aesthetic. So the philosophy, the actual color tokens in the actual hex values of them, the color usage discipline typography. We've gone with like a font, the weighting. It's gone ahead and also talked about the importing of the fonts using Google Fonts, which is pretty crazy. And then also the type scale, which is an aspect I wouldn't have even considered, spacing and layout. And so it put together this entire thing. Now, so this was using Opus 4.6, but supposedly Gemini 3.1 Pro High, what we're using now, is even better than Opus 4.6 when it comes to especially the UI stuff. So this is the first website one. We're gonna go into website two next, and we're gonna see how well Gemini 3.1 Pro can actually create a similar design specification file for itself to be able to use in future creations. Okay, you can see it just ran, it did a npm run dev, which means that we should be able to open this up now on this local host. I don't know why it's on that local host. Anyways, let's look at it. Oh, yo, we've got this scroll animation, which is kind of like a reverse parallax thing. Nature is the, and I like the load-in animation too. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so that's insane. Given we literally wrote one, we didn't even write it, we copied it from somebody, but one prompt later, prompt, one prompt, and we've done this. This is ridiculous. I used to think like design would probably be the one of the last things that AI would get its hands on. Not one of the first, but 3.1 Pro seems to have done a phenomenal job. Okay, so I'm gonna open a new conversation now, and we're gonna go into website 2, and I'm gonna make a new file in here, which I'm gonna call it design instructions or personal, no, sorry, personalized. We'll go with personalized website instructions.md. Okay, so I'm gonna say look deeply at this one and then populate at this, and I'm going to say, and then populate this with a version such that the agent, which will be Gemini 3.1 Pro High, is instructed to ask a maximum of 5 questions, non-code related, to the user to find out all the necessary information needed to create a hyper personalized website. Okay? And I'll put here that it is the instructions for a specific website. You are basically going to modularize this and then populate this with a version such that the agent is instructed to ask a maximum of 5 questions on code related to the user to find out all necessary information needed to create a hyper-personalized website. Okay, so we'll send this one now. We've Okay, so we've already seen that this is crazy. This is actually crazy. So it's not functional. Like we can't click on access portal. We have most of his other stuff though. Like and oh that happens on oh look, we got this little like frosted look behind the coming from the hover bar. Okay, that's that's pretty cool, ain't that? Okay. Anyways, while we let this thing do that, there's I'm not sure if you guys know who Nick Sarayev is, but if you're in the AI space and you don't know who Nick Sarayev is, you need to know because he's like probably somebody who, if you want to know as much as you possibly can about like functionally how to use AI very well, he's somebody you should definitely follow and look at. But he also went ahead and did some, oh, it's done. He also went ahead and did some pretty cool design stuff with it. So we'll have a look at that after this. Okay, so roll an objective. Uh-huh. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna say perfect. Follow. So now let's open up a new one here, and I'm gonna say follow these instructions. We'll put that there and send that. Now it should ask us some questions. All right, so Nick Sarayev went ahead and he shared this free Google Drive, which contains another version of this prompt, right? It's a bit longer, I think, though. This is receiving the answer. So it's kind of similar to what we're doing now, but his is just better. So we'll go ahead and import this into one of them as well. So you can just Control C on this one. Okay, move it here. All right, this has got the questions. Okay. Uh, what is the overarching visual theme or vibe you envision for this project, e.g., high-end organic tech, industrial brutalism, clinical boutique, or ethereal minimalism? Um, okay. I don't even know how to answer that. Let's just, I'm gonna use that Claude document that it gave me, which kind of has my aesthetic in it. Okay, so I'd say one, and I'd put the through line across all of my aesthetics is dark, becoming energy. It's not just that you like dark, it's not just that I like dark UI. There's a very specific, and that's not even useful. Um, okay, the core narrative, what is the central message? It is chaos to order. I don't want to give it too much because I'm just assuming like someone like you who might not have the time to give it so much prompting, or would you be able to say, I'm giving it one-liners. Visual texture and physics, what kind of elements and physical properties like heavy contrast, stark, glassmorphism, soft organic? I'd probably say I'd probably say that we would do something like all right, so I've gone ahead and I've just given it some answers that I took about 2, 3 minutes to get this done. I just used Claude. So this is three, this is four is the emotion, and five is this one. So you don't even have to give it so much. Like this is not a lot. I've given it one line answers for all of them except number five, where I said the morning contract. Like what unique interactive elements or artifacts would best represent your concept. So this one actually, I think I'll change it. So okay, we'll cancel all that. So I'd say okay. So I've given it just some basic answers here, just pretty much like so I've given it some basic answers here. I'm gonna add here that I want it to be highly cinematic because I love cinematic websites. And number five, the bespoke functional artifacts. What I'll probably say is, what do I think are gonna be this? like what would be the interactive elements that I would want. I'd say the interactive elements, I'd say some kind of a revealer as the cursor moves around the website. I want to add in a highly aesthetic dashboard, a highly aesthetic dashboard, and let's give it one more like tool that it could create is a full bleed confrontational prompt that feels like a coach asking you a question. All right, this is from Claude. This one is straight from Claude. All right, cool. Let's send it off and see how it goes. So what's gonna happen, what we're doing basically now is we're just building on each of the previous ones. Like this one was straightforward, didn't really ask you any questions. You get something like this, right? This one asks you maximum of 5 questions, non-code related questions that you can use to give it context. Number 3 will say will be able to ask you questions about functionality and be able to receive images as inspiration for the website. So we stop wasting context visual visuals and we give it images for that, and then we describe functionality in words. And number 4, pretty much I want to see, can you just turn this image into a fully functional landing page? Because you can imagine, like, I love finding these things on Pinterest because it's really interesting to look at the things people create, like stuff like this on Pinterest, and they do it so well. But it's like it's an image, maybe it was made in Figma, or maybe it was not. Like no one's been able to actually turn it into a functioning landing page. But we can probably use Gemini 3.1 Pro High to actually pull that off. So we can give this image and say, can you just turn the image into a functioning landing page? So I'm excited to get to website 4 and website 3. Right now, we're gonna see how well it performs on, well, website 2, given that we've given it a bunch of context by answering its questions. And yeah, so right now it's just creating the next app, which means it's gonna do all of the Tailwind installation stuff and the Next.js and all of that. And as soon as it's done, I think it's having a bit of a problem here. But the good thing with AI is we don't have to worry about that. It's gonna fix itself. So let's let it run and let's see how it is when you come back. All right, so what we can do is in the meantime, while it does this, we can open up a Gemini chat and we can just start creating the documents right now. So this is on Pro, which is perfect. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open Gemini this. I'll say website 2. I'm going to drop this in here and say, can you analyze and explain this MD file to me? I usually do this as my very first prompt just because I want to know that it actually understands what it's reading. So I'm gonna also just like let's see. This is our version 1. This is using a single prompt. We didn't answer any questions. We just pasted a prompt in. We're gonna see how version 2 looks using more context, and then version 3 will have more context, the most context, because we're gonna give it images and we're gonna give it words and we're gonna explain functionality as well as aesthetics. All right, so this is still going. Sophisticated system prompt design, whatever. Adopt this persona now. We can initiate one. Okay. So I'm gonna say, can you generate a new version which takes okay, we're gonna say which still asks questions but with a huge difference. This time the questions will relate to functionality, still not about code, and we'll say 5 questions max. 5 questions max, but the 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 creation of a core aesthetic, right? The creation of a core aesthetic will be done by asking the user to upload visuals of their preferred designs, right? Of their preferred designs. The preferred designs. Okay, so I'm gonna say here, not for the user, but not for the user, but make sure, not for the user. Make sure the MD file instructs Gemini to use its best vision model for the inspiration analysis of the user's uploaded images. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've said, can you create a new version which still asks questions with a huge difference? Okay, not for the user. Make sure the MD file instructs Gemini to use its best vision model for the inspiration analysis of the user's uploaded images. It will take images and create something like this for itself, using for the user, but it can create, and we named this file O8 design system. All right, so let's send that. Okay, so it does take a bit of time because we are using 3 Pro High, which means it's doing a lot of reasoning. And if you wanted to have it done faster, but not as good, but still quicker, you could use 3.1 Pro Low, which is this one, which has less reasoning effort, but less tokens as well, and is quicker. So you can see this is a brilliant whatever, all right? Relying on the user to articulate complex design aesthetics often leads to misinterpretation. Here is the revised system prompt you can paste directly to a new chat to initialize the creative technologist persona. Okay, perfect. So let's copy this. Again, I'm not going to bother reading the whole thing. I'm just going to trust it. And I'm going to make a new file here, and I'm going to call this hyper personalized underscore website underscore instructions. And I'm going to paste this in there. Okay. Cool. So this is what we'll work on next, once we see what this in first one looks like when it's done. This is one that's gonna be a bit different because it's gonna take images as well. Okay, but anyways, let's focus on this initial one that we're still waiting for it to finish. So it's almost done now. I'll pause the video and come back when it's done. All right, we have it. So let's run this. All right, it's running in localhost 300. Let's have a look how it did. Oh, it's really done a good job here. It's also got that little light that I wanted when you move the cursor in the background. Oh, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Oh, I don't think it's done yet. Because looking at this side of my screen, this is not me doing anything, by the way. My hands are up here. This is anti-gravity taking screenshots to check the quality of its work. Okay? I'm not doing this. This is it. This is not me. As you can see that blue ring around the browser, that's anti-gravity's Chrome extension right now. So I think it's not done. It's probably still checking stuff. Yeah. So as you can see, wow, this is crazy. Anyways, we've got an idea of what it looks like, but I don't think it's done yet. So let's let it finish up on whatever it is that it's doing. Wait. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna say we need one more variation. So I've said we need one more variation. This is going to be one where you can upload an image and leave the image and it'll create a functioning site. All right, so I'm going to accept all. Okay, so as you can see, like I said, that wasn't me. It was taking screenshots of its own work, which is pretty crazy to say the least. Anyways, let's have a look. I love the little light at the back. I can't believe it actually did that very well, given what I asked for it. Becoming versus drifting. So, a little bit of an issue here with the G kind of being cut off by this div element that I assume is this one that's expanded up about this way. System diagnostics, cost of drifting. In compounding opportunities lost this year, operating far beneath maximal threshold. This is a live feed. Okay, so, oh, ain't that cool? Are you actually moving or just spinning? Wow, I love that animation. Are you actually moving or just spinning in the dark? The comfort trap, friction versus fuel. What does it say? Eradicate the fallbacks, the deep work epoch. End of session. No more scrolling, do the work. For a one-shot landing page, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. Okay, anyways. So that's that, right? This is the personalized one. Now here we have the hyper personalized one that I'm probably the most excited to try out, where we can actually upload to it certain no, we don't need to bother doing all of this to be honest. It's fine. All right, so here we have this new one here. So I'm gonna open a new chat and just like before, I'm gonna say read your instructions and let's start. Right, so this one is going to be different. This one's going to take images as so I've given it this image, and this image, and this image. I'm hoping you can figure out that I like this kind of silhouetted person design. I like the idea of the fonts being used here. These are not very good. They're very different images. So I want to see how well it can stitch together a design, like a design specification thing just based on that. Okay. So far, this is ridiculous. All right, and this is the final one, which pretty much just takes a single image and will turn it into an entire website. All right, so we'll go in here. I'll make it in the root of this. Okay, I'm gonna call this image to site instructions. And I'll paste that in there. Okay, that actually needs to be in there. Yeah, cool. Step one. Step two, please upload 1 to 5 images awaiting your input to proceed to phase two. So core utility and action. What is the single most critical action a user must take on this platform? I'm gonna say signing up to the, I don't know, 30-day reinvent yourself pro. You know what? Let's make this, yeah, okay, you know what? Let's go with that. I was gonna say we'll make it for my actual business, but it's fine. What dynamic data is being displayed, collected, or processed throughout the session? Where should the experience be frictionless, and where should we intentionally slow the user down to command attention? How does this interface connect to the broader business automation pipeline? Mechanically, what defines a successful interaction session? Please upload 1 to 5 images. All right, so this is a bit deeper. If you actually know what exactly you want to build in your website, this would be great because you would be able to give it all the information that it needs. But for the sake of this, I'm gonna say step one, I'm not a good business or web designer person. The site is supposed to be for a 30-day reinvent yourself program. Decide all of the functional components. Step two, here are 3 images of aesthetics that I like. And I'm gonna give it 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna say they are in the folder you are currently working in. I'm gonna send that off. We'll be back when it's done. All right, so that took a while, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's finished now. And so we can look at the find the sorry, it's running on localhost 300. Yeah, it's used the thing really well. As far as the inspire approving ground, not a playground. Oh, look at that. Deconstruction, recalibration, execution, initialize, commit identity. Ah, so this has got a little hover animation too. Reinvent the machine. Do these work? No. Well, because we haven't built a functioning website. This is just a landing page, right? I can't lie. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. All right. Anyways, so let's go on to the last one now, which is website 4. So I'm gonna open a new chat here. I'm gonna say read this and let's start. I'm gonna give it the image to site and upload that. All right. Fully read and internalized protocol. I meant to operate a world class. Please provide the UI reference image and I will instantly execute a zero-shot generation of a production-ready high fidelity using these are the ones that we use as dependencies. You don't have to use them, honestly. It's perfectly fine. All right, so we'll go with this one first. Project Becoming. I'll say, all right, within this directory is the image. You will also create a folder in this directory where you will store the website. Okay. Let's see how it's thinking, huh? Concentrating on optimizing my approach by choosing the right tool for the job instead of generic commands. I'm focusing on a more tailored approach. Finding and processing the image, so it's analyzed website 4, found website 4 underscore website 1, and now it needs to find the image. Analyze the image, all right. Cause I thought you had me in prison this whole time, but I'm the one holding the keys. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. All right, so this is gonna be a bit of a longer one too, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna let it be. By the way, if you don't always have to come back and check on Gemini and see what it's doing, you can change from ask every time to always run, and then you can actually just go do your stuff, and it will just continue to run and do the work that you need it to do. So let's come back when it's done. All right, so we have it running on this server, Project Becoming, because I thought you had me in prison, but I was the so it basically just functionally turns it into sort of an image website thing. So it can do a great job because it doesn't really add any functionality to it. So what we need to do is come inside this thing here, and we need to say the instrument rule, and we'll say no, what we need to say here is the website rule. I don't know. Ready to be used by a user. You must extrapolate what the next 3 to 5 pages after the landing page will look like Okay, cool. So we've read this, and now we'll go ahead and try it out with this one here. I'm more excited about this one, to be honest. This one looks pretty cool. So let's do this one. So again, just open up this, write a plus here. I'm gonna say, read this. The image is here, and build in this directory. I'm not gonna do anything else. Gonna leave it there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and test out a different one, maybe something like this, because we've done a lot of dark and red ones. Let's go for something that's a bit light. I want to see how it does. Here you go. All right, let's let it run.